For centuries and decades, we have lived in this kind of a world whereby we have clients, users, our customers to a product, business, organization, or a service. Today, we declare ubiquitous ownership. But before we dive deep into what ubiquitous ownership really is, we need to first understand what a user, client, customer is, so that we will be able to differentiate between the two. And I welcome each and every one of you to this discussion. Thank you very much for having us. So, what is a user, or what defines someone, a customer, or a user, or a client to a service company or a business provider? So basically, we have these kinds of people who access platforms or companies but do not own them. Or we have these kind of people who contribute data but hold nothing or do not hold control. And we have these kinds of people who build value but do not share in the long-term growth of that product, service, etc. And we have people who depend on systems they cannot influence. So all those people are generally classified as users, clients, or customers. So I have this example of Mark Zuckerberg, who owns Facebook, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp in his Meta empire, and everyone else are just users. So we use Facebook on daily basis for different kinds of uses, and we are defined as users to Facebook. So when Meta is taking statistical analysis on its Facebook growth, it says we have 3 billion users in Facebook this year, right? But each and every person in that actually depend on Mark Zuckerberg and do not influence that all those 3 billion people only access. They do not have governance power over what they use. So they are just users. So that makes a person defined as a user, customer to a business, product, service provider, or a platform, right? So basically, what is the hidden cost of everyone being a customer, client, to a specific organization, business, or customer, or service provider? So we have these kinds of effects whereby we do not have structural ownership within companies, service providers that are providing with what we use on almost daily basis. We do not hold governance participation. We do not have we do not obtain value, or value can be also be freezed or discontinued at any given moment whenever they decide this person is going against our terms and conditions. Let's freeze his funds, etc. Then we have this kind of high dependence on centralized decisions, whereby we say, what is Mark Zuckerberg thinking about us? We can't influence our lives. We wait for the central power to influence the way we use our services, the way we live ourselves, and the way we actually use those services in return. So these are all hidden costs of everyone being a user, or a client, a customer to a business, or depending to bosses, the riches, etc. Okay, so basically, before we proceed, we want to understand what really normalized everyone being a customer, a consumer to a product, service, etc. So that we will be able to understand what ubiquitous ownership really is. So basically, we have seen these kind of situations whereby platforms grow to billions of people, companies grow to millions of customers, we have seen these kinds of situations whereby convenience is replacing ownership. Everyone feels like convenience is the way, and access is also controlling control. You don't care about what I am using. We care about accessing. Is my Facebook working right now? We don't care about what, about controlling it, the Facebook itself. We care only about accessing it. And people, they care about being employees, and they don't care about holding power in organizations or businesses they work on almost a daily basis. So all these things ended up normalizing consumerism, business to clients, deals, etc., all those kind of things. So basically, I welcome you once again to this conversation. Like I said, we are talking about ubiquitous ownership. So we declared end to other people depending on other people for survival. So we are saying, what ownership really mean in general? So ownership really mean that you actually participate in the structural, technical, and everything with regards to what you actually use. And you hold shared responsibility, you own value access, you have voice or governance voice or control of everything that you use on almost a daily basis. That's ownership. You truly own what you use. You truly own what you access. You truly own yourself, not depending on any other third party. So basically, that's ownership. So ubiquitous ownership. When someone is referred to as an ubiquitous owner or a Chippies ecosystem owner, that means ownership is at a structural level. There is no user. All of us who are in the ecosystem, we are co-owners, we are owners of Chippies ecosystem. Ubiquitous in general, in English, it means everywhere, at any point. So it's actually decentralized and distributed, which means no central authority to look for, which means no individual we look up to. Then at the same time, we actually share responsibilities over growth, over decisions. We actually distribute value. We create together. We participate across multiple nodes, anywhere, everywhere. Anyone in USA can actually own Chippies ecosystem. In Kenya, South Africa, all of those people are actually owners of Chippies ecosystem. So this means the difference between saying Mark Zuckerberg owns Facebook with 1 billion people versus 1 billion people owns the Chippies ecosystem. So this is ubiquitous owner who truly own Chippies ecosystem, not being owned by some other central authority or organization or individual. I think the difference between a user and ubiquitous owner is now clear. So now we want to move to look, to summarize these differences. So basically, like we said, we have someone in today's world, or most of the people, they are just users. So I would like to compare it against this new trend or cultural or paradigm shift to ubiquitous owner. What are the differences between the two? So with a customer, we're saying a customer just to consume or just use, but an ubiquitous owner actually co-create, build, co-design, co-shape, co-decide, and co-impact together. We all know what is going on in the next 5 years with our product, and we co-shape together towards a specific vision that 1 billion people are working towards. This is ubiquitous ownership. Then when someone is just a user, he or she depends on some individuals or companies. We depend on Mark Zuckerberg for Facebook, for all Meta platforms. We depend on Elon Musk for Twitter. We depend on Strive Masiwa for Econet. We depend on, different people for what we use on almost daily basis. But when someone is an ubiquitous owner, he or she is truly an owner of a product service he uses on almost daily basis. He or she is actually independent, doesn't depend on someone, and he or she actually participates fully and permissionlessly. At the same time, when someone or a client actually hears a news about what is going on with Facebook is down today, a client simply reacts and wait. He doesn't have any power. Even if Facebook is said to be closed by next month, he doesn't have any power to say anything because he is just a user. He just assumes that maybe they are going to stop from doing this etc. because he doesn't have any power voice over what next, because he is just a user and is depending on a specific organization, company, or a platform. But when someone is an ubiquitous or Chippies ecosystem owner, that person actually shape and contribute to the future. He actually has a voice over what next, what Chippies ecosystem is supposed to be in the next 5 years. That person has a voice over what next with Chippies ecosystem. I think we now all understand what the difference between Chippies ecosystem or ubiquitous ownership versus being clients, customers, consumers, so everything. Now we want to look at why is ubiquitous ownership an actual cultural shift. We have we have seen this kind of dependencies, this kind of centralizations, these kinds of just be using products, services, etc. Now, why is ubiquitous ownership a cultural or a paradigm shift into this world? Okay, basically, it changes economic identity. Basically, instead of saying Mark Zuckerberg owns 1 billion people, we are saying 1 billion people owns the Chippies ecosystem. So, no owner, ubiquitous anywhere, everywhere, anytime. You understand? So, economic identity of Chippies ecosystem truly changes. Why? Because it's no longer owned by Nigel. It's actually owned by everyone. Then, secondly, it changes the participation structure. Instead of looking forward for someone to participate and give us result, we are co-creating, co-participating, co-designing, co-shaping, co-defining, collectively. towards a specific goal, to meet specific requirements, to meet specific outcomes, and actually at the same time be able to distribute value over long term, over entire lives, and span that value through civilizations that ubiquitous ownership. At the same time, we all share responsibility on what next with Chippies ecosystem. What are we troubling? Why are we not achieving these kind of objectives? All those things, they are, they define what ubiquitous ownership is and why it is an actual paradigm or a cultural shift. Okay, now we want to basically understand why ubiquitous ownership is actually a need in Chippies ecosystem, right? So basically, with Chippies ecosystem, we aim to be a global digital infrastructure. At the same time, we aim to collaborate cross-border, or bring what we call cross-border co-creatorship. At the same time, bring decentralized technologies that exist everywhere, anywhere across the world, and readiness for everyone across the world to be able to fully participate in an ecosystem that he or she actually owns. So it is a must, a need, not a want, to have ubiquitous ownership within Chippies ecosystem, right? So I think we now all understand why Chippies ecosystem does not regard anyone as a client, but we all co-own Chippies ecosystem. Now it's high time we understand that what are the risks? What if it happens that one day Chippies ecosystem actually has clients instead of ubiquitous owners? What are the risks associated with having clients within Chippies ecosystem? This means we are going to have this kind of executions that actually photocopies extractive systems that we are trying by our best to be rebellion against. So we are saying we need to discontinue extraction. But if it happens that Chippies ecosystem now has clients, this means continued extraction. We are saying we need to remove centralized power and control with decentralization. But if it happens that one day Chippies works up with customers, clients, or users, this implies centralized control, and we are actually going to fail to have this kind of decentralization and distribution that is actually that makes sure that anyone anywhere across the world fully participate and engage in value creation and actually earn value or obtain value from Chippies ecosystem that spans through his or her own entire generations or civilizations. So at the same time, if it happens that we have users, then Chippies ecosystem is going to fail to be able to deploy billions of projects that should instead be running within Chippies ecosystem. So this will imply limited participation. Yes, with Chippies ecosystem, we are saying maximum participation over lifetime. Then we are seeing this, we are going to see this kind of intergenerational dependencies of one problem being passed from one generation to another. Why? Because the people do not fully participate in what they actually own, and the people, they are focusing on short-term gratification, and we are going to co-create value that only make people survive instead of span civilizations. So we are not supposed to be in any way have a client in Chippies ecosystem, because we need to create a value that discontinues as extractive systems, centralized control, and actually reduce generational problem dependencies. Right. So what is the opportunity of ubiquitous ownership? What does ubiquitous ownership actually bring to Chippies ecosystem if implemented with everyone being a co-owner of Chippies ecosystem? What are the benefits, advantages of being a co-owner or having co-owners or ubiquitous owners within Chippies ecosystem? So this implies shared global value creation. Anyone anywhere in Kenya, South Africa, Japan, anyone participating fully in Chippies ecosystem. Then we have this kind of structural inclusion, anyone contributing, having voice over what next with what is going on. At the same time, we are going to have long-term sustainability, because we are creating to span civilizations, and we are going to have this kind of collective prosperity. Why? Because we are saying everyone is a co-owner. So we are not looking forward to make Mark Zuckerberg rich, but we are looking forward to prosper everyone within the ecosystem. So all these are the benefits of having, ubiquitous owners within Chippies ecosystem. So here is my invitation to everyone. It's high time for us to determine, decide, and influence our economic identity. At the same time, it's high time for us to choose participation over dependence and build instead of consume. At the same time, it's high time for everyone to declare that I am now a co-owner. I do not need to be a user or depend on other people for my life anymore. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me in this conversation. Bye.